In April, the government announced new enforcement measures for the taxi service. These included more fines to ensure licence holders were fulfilling their duties, a three-strike system for those who weren't, and closer monitoring to ensure drivers were carrying out their city service. Taxis are obliged to complete city service duties, which is when they take people from A to B rather than taking tourists on rock tours. In May, the fine for not fulfilling city service duties was raised to £300 for a first strike, £600 for a second, and £1,000 in suspension for a third strike. The government has now updated legislation to ensure drivers who miss their city service make up for this within 10 days. Changes are being made to improve the service for the public, but are they making a difference?
To date, we've issued 23 fixed penalty notices to various licence holders. Some of them are on their second strike, and there is, I believe, at least one licence that has been reviewed by the Transport Commission. So again, the Transport Commission and the Ministry is using its legal powers to help make the service better. Before this, it was like 0 and 7, so it was actually quite low. They've been fined for mainly two things. One is for not completing the city service as per law, and the second one is that they have been doing rock tours when they should be city service. Within the law, they are prohibited to actually doing any type of upper rock tours whilst they're down for their 5-day city service.
The Taxi Association says the legal changes have made an improvement.
Also internally, we've implemented a three-strike system to the day and evening shifts and graveyard shifts that we have implemented internally. And that basically means if they miss the shift or any delays or any hours missed 3 times consecutively, that will result in them being removed from the shift and maybe replaced by another driver who's willing to do the hours required. In addition to that, we also right now, it's a long process, so we're still working to improve mainly the frontier and the airport, as we're getting many complaints from flights arriving and many people queuing up over there, as well as the frontier taxi rank. So we're working towards improving that at the moment. But in general, the actual city service, in my opinion, has improved quite a lot.
So does the public think the service is any better?
I see tourists coming from abroad and they're trying to get taxis, and you see them walking through the runway with the suitcases. I mean, that's not it's not good for Gibraltar.
Expensive, it's local.
I think they do a good job anyway.
These days, I think I've been using the city service a couple of times. I think that has improved from what it was before. However, I think in the long run, we will need a lot more taxis, because we're getting a lot more tourists.
Sometimes good, sometimes horrendous. Okay. If there's something going on which is like a gig or something you need to get to, it's a nightmare. Otherwise, they're quite quick.
Further legislation to increase the number of taxis working until 2 a.m. is also planned.
They're passing legislation the next few weeks of 2 cars and 1 licence. So that means that one licence holder can have 2 cars attached to the licence. Therefore, 1 car can do the morning shift, and then another car with a different driver can do the night shift. So again, we will now be implementing as well that a licence holder or various licence holders will have to do the night shift, which I believe is between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. It's the first time we actually put down in law a stipulated night city service.
Let's talk about after 2 a.m. then. For example, I can tell you from personal experience, coming from weddings across the border, so many people find themselves stranded at the frontier, unable to reach the taxi service after 2 a.m. What's being done about that?
That's a difficult one. That's not that's a difficult one to, again, we legislated until 2 a.m. Taxis can stay on working as long as they want. If they want to stay on working until 6 a.m, so be it. But again, the law doesn't state they have to do it. We will have to work with the GTA. There are mechanisms in place where we can ensure there are more taxis because there's a wedding and stuff like that. It's difficult because how many people will actually want to work that type of shift?
The ministry says that looking at this issue is the next step, but that work towards this is being done.